So pretty much it's a 71 Amc Javelin, and pretty much it's getting a totally different motor. The motor's sitting right over there. That's a 401 cubic inch small block, and then the motor that's in this thing right now is a 300. Oh man, camera angle problem. No. Is a 304 cubic inch small block. It's all AMC American Motors. But I saw that like no one. I watched a lot of YouTubers, and everyone's doing like new cars and all that stuff, which is awesome. But I noticed that like no one's really doing old cars. So I thought it'd be really cool to film an old car, since really I haven't seen anything. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on with this. It does run and drive as it is, but it's got to get new wheels, tires, suspension stuff, brake stuff. Obviously that whole motor is getting in there, so you got to pull this motor out, pull the trans. So there should be a bunch of stuff. So this is pretty much going to be a step in multiple series of the actual car. So really pretty much today what I wanted to get done was I popped all the pistons out of that 401, and these are pretty big. These are like a little bit over 4 inches, so pretty big pistons. I'm used to like little 4-cylinder stuff since that's what I work on a lot, so it's weird to work on these big things. But this motor's, I have no idea how many miles are on it or anything like that, but it needs a lot of work, so that's why we tore it all apart to do a full build on it, looking for somewhere around like 500 horsepower. But anyway, so what I want to do today is I'm just going to pop all these wrist pins out of the pistons from the rod, show you how to do that, how I always do it. A lot of people normally don't do that. They just take it to the machine shop and have them do it, which I have a rod behind Will here. This is the rod that I popped out from here, and the whole reason I'm just popping them out instead of just having the machine shop do it is honestly it's just something for me to do, and then also just the fact of the matter that there's no need to, I can just pop these out myself, and machine shop can knock it out, and it's real simple for them. So with that being said, these pistons are useless for me. I'm getting forged pistons anyway, so I'm just popping all these out, and I'm still going to use these stock rods because these are a steel forged rod from the factory. So I'll take these to the machine shop with the new pistons, and I'll have them press them on. I've done it myself, but I think I'd rather just have the machine shop put the new pistons on here with the new wrist pins, just because it's a pain having to heat up the old one and stuff like that. So but yeah, so let's go on with the first rod. We're not going to show all the rods. I'll show all the rods, but I'll just show doing like 1 or 2 of them, and then I'll just do the rest on a time lapse. But so pretty much there's a couple different types of pistons and rod combos, but right here is pretty standard, and it's a press fit, and some of these actually have spiral clips or like a snap ring on them, and you can undo that spiral clip or take it out, and then literally you can just push on that wrist pin and it slides right out. You have the rod and the piston out. Really simple, and most people do that. Then when they get a new piston, they use the spiral clips, they assemble it themselves because there's no need to do it at a machine shop. But on this case it's different, and if you are reusing the pistons, you just got to be really careful, because I have seen people break skirts on the piston or the crown of the piston, so you just got to kind of take your time, be easy on it. But besides that, and also make sure you have your rods when you pull them out. You should know which rod is what anyway. It should be marked. But if you don't have them marked, which I have it somewhere on here, did I put it on here? Yeah, it's on, there it is. Number 1, always write on the rod, there's always a chamfer to a rod, and there's always a mark on the piston. As you can see right here, this is a little cut in the piston. Some will have an arrow or a dot like on the actual dish of the piston or right by the land, but if it doesn't, this one's right here. This is always going to face towards the front of the motor. And then if you look at the rod here, actually you can see up in here how this end and these ends are different. This one's more chamfered out. That is always going to face towards the front of the motor with this piston. If you don't put it on the right way, then it'll destroy literally the motor. You got to put everything on together. So it's not real hard, but just make sure, if you're not sure on chamfers or whatnot, because some rods don't necessarily have that, it's hard to tell, then just make an arrow pointing that way or something like that, or whatever you do to engrave it so you know where it's going, this way you don't screw it up. So that's pretty much that. It's pretty simple stuff, nothing complex there. I use a 20-ton press. I picked this one up at Harbor Freight a while ago. I can't remember what I paid, but it's coming used for bearings and all types of stuff that's in the way. But I always just take a socket, an extension, or whatever you can use. All presses are different on the height, but I just use this for height wise, and whatever's going to fit that wrist pin really good. So this fits on there pretty perfectly, and I'm using 11/16 on a 3/8 impact 3-inch extension. So, and then I have these bearing plates as well. So I just set them on, and I actually hold the piston up, because none of this, it shouldn't take a lot of force or a lot of load to actually pop these out. They should come out not like super easy. There's gonna be a little effort, but not to the point where it's like a wheel bearing or somewhere where you're just jamming on it. It's getting super tight. If it does that, you're either binding up somewhere or you're gonna break this piston. But it should just slowly press it out. So turn your press down. And then it's touching right now, and pretty much it's gonna hold it up. The rod's not gonna move now because I have some pressure on it. But literally just press down on here. I can feel some pressure right now, but the socket and everything's going down. It'll make a popping noise sometimes, and a lot of times when it pops like that, that means it just broke. All the pressure that's on here, it just finally moved. It was budged, a little stiff in there or whatever. But now it's going pretty decently, pretty easily. If you don't have a press, then yeah, the machine shop's gonna need to do this, unless you can figure out another way. But I'm not really sure, since this is the only way I've ever learned how to do it and how I always do it. It doesn't have to be a 20-ton press either, 12-ton or even a 6-ton. I've used 6-ton presses before and it worked flawlessly. Oh man. Just like that. Wrist pins out of the piston, and I always keep these wrist pins, always. Not that I'm going to reuse them in here, but they're super strong, and so you can use them to hit things in, drive things in, press stuff. So always keep these. And now that you have your rod, and here's the other piston, and as you can see, it did put a little crease on both sides of the skirt here. It didn't crack or anything like that, but it did hurt it, and I wouldn't use this piston now. But there is better ways than how I did that, to be honest, on supporting this so you don't hurt the piston itself. I wouldn't. There's different types of adapters and the press on that are more round, suited for something like this, so you're not going to actually hurt the piston itself like I did. But I didn't really care about it, and I knew it wasn't going to break the skirt how I had it set up, and the rod came out, and that was honestly all that mattered to me. So this piston's really drunk, and these are original pistons. They have the AMC, you can't really see it, but AMC logo in there from whatever year this is. So what I do is, these rods are all dirtied up, so I actually do is over here, I have a 20-gallon parts washer that I bought, and I just take these old rods in here, and I'll just set them in here. I'll put them in this basket. These are actually main bolts, so I need to take these out because they're clean. I'm not getting studs, or I may get studs, I don't know, but I wanted to clean them just in case I use them. But I just set my rods in here, and then I set them in the parts washer and let them sit for, you know, it's kind of however long till I get to them. And then you can see this is one that was cleaned, and I didn't do any scrubbing, nothing. It literally just sat in there. That's it. I just set it down, and you can see the difference of just how much cleaner that is compared to the other one. And that's what I do with all of them. So now we'll just do a time lapse of pressing out the last 8 of them, and then we'll get back to it. All right, you can stop it now. Yeah.